going live on Monday, October 7th, 2024. And the purpose of this live, guys, is to remind you, if you need the reminder, that the United States oligarchy cares more about Ukraine and the Middle East than they do about you. Okay, now, for a lot of you watching this, especially my subscribers, that's no surprise to you. What I just told you, you probably already left the live or already shut the video if you were watching the video. But the message really is for those viewers who still believe that we live in some sort of representative democracy where Americans come first, where the country is invested in first, where people who suffer natural disasters like Hurricane Helene and upcoming Hurricane Milton are served first and more than foreign nations, foreign wars, foreign endeavors, whatever you want to call them, okay? I am here to disabuse you of the notion that you are more important than those other priorities to your government. And, the thing is, guys, a lot of people watching this who still believe that they live in a republic or they live in a democracy, this is not computing for you guys, okay? And I get it. It took a long time before it kicked in for me as well. Go look up the definition of an oligarchy if you need to. If you know it, you know it. If you don't know it or you're not familiar with it, I had to go look it up. I hadn't seen it since a social studies textbook in like fucking 1991. So within the last year, I had to go back, look at it, read it a few times, and I had to critically think and ask myself, is this a country that is better described as a democracy or an oligarchy? And when you look at that definition, guys, you're gonna see that an oligarchy is a country that is ruled by a small group of powerful elites, whether that elite status is derived from political influence, political position, wealth, whatnot. It describes the United States to a T. It describes this country perfectly, okay? Now, if the definition of a democracy is you get to cast a vote, yeah, I could see why you think you live in a democracy. But after that, critically think, is the power in this country situated in the masses, the mass of people, or is the power in this country situated in a small group of elites, whether it be politicians, the wealthy, etc.? That's the question that you have to go ahead and you have to ask yourself, okay, is where is power situated? When you really follow the thread on that and you're honest with yourself, then you will go ahead and you will realize that you live in an oligarchy. Okay, now that we've established that, let's talk about Hurricane Helene. Let's talk about Ukraine. Let's talk about the Middle East. Okay, I saw a tweet, I think it was yesterday, I think it was over the weekend, okay? Which country? The country I'm talking about is the United Oligarchy, okay? If you missed the first part of the video, just watch this back when you get the recording as to why I'm saying that. The United States is an oligarchy. It is not a democracy. Okay, so let me say this. Tweet that I saw over the weekend, I think it was from QE Infinity. Kind of a funny handle, actually. Actually, it's not the Twitter handle, I don't think. That's the account name. And it might be the Twitter handle, but the account name is QE Infinity. I'm pretty sure QE Infinity was the one that posted a side-by-side set of headlines that were like within a day of each other. It might have even been the same day, okay? Basically, one headline said something like, and I'm going to get the numbers wrong, guys. Let me just say right off the bat, I don't remember the exact numbers. But one of them said Hurricane Helene victims to get, whatever it was, like $400 million from the government or something like that, right? It had a number that Helene victims were going to receive in aid or from FEMA or whatever. And then the headline next to it, the picture next to it, was something like, government or president, Congress, whatever, authorizes whatever the number was, $1 billion in aid, let's say, for, I believe it said Lebanon. Might have said something more generic, but I believe it said Lebanon. So it literally was a side-by-side view of Americans receiving less aid than the aid we're sending just in this one shot to the Middle East. I'm not talking about all the money that's been sent. I'm not talking about all the money that's been sent to Ukraine. I'm not talking about all the money that's been sent to the Middle East so far. I'm talking about in this one instance, an aid package going, I believe, to Lebanon, greater than the aid package to Hurricane Helene victims. Okay? And now, of course, we have another hurricane following in right behind Hurricane Helene. Okay? Right? So we're going to get a double whammy, praying for all the people in the path of this both the first hurricane and now this second hurricane that's going to essentially traverse the, nearly the same path. I mean, it's just, my goodness, right? And just no consideration of the fact, I mean, apparently from our government, no consideration of the fact that these victims will receive less in aid than Ukraine, Middle East, so on and so forth. Now, I don't know if you guys saw it. I think it came out last year. I think it was in 2023. It was sometime in 2023. It might have been the earlier part of 23. It's pretty foggy for me now. But there was a 60 Minutes episode that featured what was going on in Ukraine and why the United States was aiding. What's this stream about? This stream is about how the United States government prioritizes foreign entities, foreign endeavors, foreign countries over Americans. So I'm talking about how we provide aid to Ukraine, to Middle Eastern concerns, etc., over and above what we provide our own citizens, such as victims of Hurricane Helene, such as the victims of the Maui wildfires, things like that. Okay. So anyway, there was a 60 Minutes episode where they were talking about Ukraine. They were talking about U.S. aid to Ukraine. And they were talking about not just the fact that we were providing munitions, not just the fact that we were providing bombs and bullets and warplanes and so on and so forth, but that the United States had also essentially bankrolled all the first responders' salaries in Ukraine. So we were paying for all their first responders' salaries, and that we also had provided aid to buttress small businesses in Ukraine to make sure that Ukraine's economy didn't collapse. So there's a question for us to ask our government. For all the small businesses that are shut down right now or were destroyed by Hurricane Helene or will be destroyed by Hurricane Milton, are we backstopping those businesses? Are we going to fund those businesses when they fail? Are we going to provide funding and resources to those small businesses, right, when they fail? Just like we've done in Ukraine, right? That's all we're asking, okay? Just that one narrow question, right? We've provided aid to Ukraine to make sure their small businesses don't fail and their economy doesn't collapse, and then they'll be taken over by Russia and blah, 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 blah. So are we funding and backstopping American small businesses that have been destroyed in things like Hurricane Helene, soon to be Hurricane Milton, the Maui wildfire, go on and on and on. Okay? And here's the answer, guys. No, we aren't going to. We're not going to fund them. We're not going to backstop them. If your small business failed because of Hurricane Helene, fuck you. Right? That's what the government's going to tell you. Sorry, that's the risk you took. You set up a business, you're fucked. Okay? That's going to be the answer. Now, you got to remember, guys, when you live in an oligarchy like we do, okay, you live in an oligarchy like we do in the United States, the oligarchy only needs you one day out of every 1,000 days. And I'll give you 3 guesses what day that is. It happens in early November every 4 years. Okay? So 1 day in November every 4 years, the oligarchy needs you to trudge out to the polls, pull a fucking lever, and cast a vote to validate the system, to provide the facade that you have a say in what goes on in this country, that you have power to influence what goes on in this country. And you know what happens the other 999 days, guys? They fuck you in the ass. I hate to use this salty language. I typically don't use this language, but then I get fired up about this stuff and I just got to do it. You know, the bottom line, guys, is you're only needed 1 day out of every 1,000 days. And then the other 999 days, the oligarchy serves its master. The wealthy, the powerful, the elite, the connected, the political class. Then, you know, in that 3rd year when the presidential election kind of winds up, you know, the whole thing kind of gathers steam, we start it all over again. We start the charade all over again. And you're told how important your vote is and how much it's going to change things and we're going to change it all. You got to fucking wake up, okay? The wealthy, the powerful, the elite, they pay this government, no matter who's in there. I don't care who the fuck is in. I don't care who the president is. I don't care what the party is. That class of people, that narrow band in the oligarchy, make sure the status quo stays the same. Then they ramp up the big marketing campaign. Next presidential election comes along. You're bombarded with messaging, how important your vote is, how you got to get out to the polls, you got to get there. It's, you know, everything depends upon it. Your life depends on it. It's the most important election ever. It's the most important election in your lifetime. Every fucking election is the most important election in your lifetime. Every fucking election. Go back and look at them, guys. Go look at the footage from 2016, 12, 8, 4, 0. Most important election in your lifetime. Just so happens to be every fucking election, right? So that's the marketing, guys. That's the marketing campaign that gets used on you. Okay? That's the marketing campaign that they roll out every 4 years to give you the sense that you fucking matter, that you actually have any kind of influence whatsoever, any kind of say in the situation. So anyway, guys, it's going to be really interesting to see what happens with Milton. Praying for everybody affected by it. Guarantee you the government is not going to provide any more funding for Milton or Helene victims or whomever. No more funding for them than they will for Ukraine, Middle East, etc. And it's just that simple. It's literally just that simple. So really interested to see what you guys have to say about this, what your thoughts are on it. Let me know if you think I'm wrong about, you know, the kind of government that we have and all that sort of stuff. But I have a pretty strong conviction about it, as you can tell. So just a crying shame as far as what's happening to American citizens, how much assistance or aid they get in a situation like Helene or Milton or Maui, et cetera, versus overseas interests. So looking forward to hearing from you guys, everybody who joined the live stream, everybody who checked in or watches this video or comments, subscribes, likes, shares, etc. Super, super appreciate it. Can't thank you enough. It means everything to me that you guys participated. So thanks. Hope everybody has a great Monday.